Hello Internet, so nice to see you! Today we talk about changing key, modulating with augmented chords. Now, there are several ways to modulate using these amazing augmented chords. So today we see one possible way, and if you guys like it and request it in the comments, then I'll do more videos on augmented chords modulations. Deal? So first of all, what is an augmented chord? An augmented chord is a triad, meaning a chord of 3 notes, with the notes a major third apart. So for instance, a C augmented triad will have the notes C, E, which is a major third above, and G sharp, which is a major third above. Now a major third, it's 4 half steps. So between C and E I have 4 half steps, between E and G sharp I have 4 half steps, and the curious thing is that if I put another C on top, there are 4 half steps also between G sharp and C. This means that the chord is symmetric, so that C augmented will be the same chord as E augmented and the same chord as G sharp augmented. Well, all is fine and dandy, but YouTube is the land of I dotters and T crossers. So I need to spend the next minute of this video to make this statement that I just made acceptable to nitpickers. So, in 12-tone equal temperament, C augmented is made by the notes C, E, G sharp. E augmented is made by the notes E, G sharp, B sharp. I have to call this note B sharp because it's a major third above G sharp, while C, even if it's the same sound, it indicates a note that is a diminished fourth above G sharp. G sharp augmented is made by the notes G sharp, B sharp, D double sharp. If we don't like double sharps, we can respell it as an A flat augmented made by the notes A flat, C, E. Now, those chords are not exactly identical as the notes are spelled differently, but they are enharmonic, meaning that they are the same chord, quote, when you play them, unquote. So, after this explanation, we are back to where we started. C augmented is the same as E augmented is the same as G sharp augmented. Thank you, nitpickers, for your assistance. Anyway, since those 3 chords are enharmonic, meaning they sound the same, I just need to find one key that contains the C augmented chord, a different key that contains, say, the E augmented chord. And then I can use the fact that those 2 chords sound the same as a pivot chord, meaning I'm going to play in the first key, play a C augmented, and then move into the next key, and since C augmented and E augmented is a common chord between those 2 notes, a pivot chord in jargon, then it acts as a bridge from one key to the other. But where do I find an augmented chord? If I look at the major scale or the natural minor scale, I cannot fit in any augmented chord. Like Darth Vader will say, I find this lack of augmented chords disturbing. Luckily, there is a place where I can find an augmented chord, and this is inside the harmonic minor scale. And yes, I can find one in the melodic minor too, but in this case I only need the harmonic minor. So let's take for instance the A harmonic minor scale. A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp. Well, if I take the notes C, E, G sharp, I have exactly my C augmented chord. Yay! But if I play it in context, sometimes this actually does not sound like the C augmented chord. It sounds more like the altered 5th chord. So this sometimes is heard more as an E augmented, an E with a sharp 5 chord. Long story short, we can play this augmented chord substituting the 5th chord of the key. So let's say I have a short chord progression. The 1st chord of the key, the 4th chord of the key, and the 5th chord of the key normally would be A minor, D minor, E. And I'm gonna put my chord to substitute the E. Which sounds great already. Now this is a good moment to ask yourself, how can we play those augmented chords on guitar? Here are 3 shapes for you, and only the bass note is changing. So now, if, with a little abuse of notation, I call this chord here E augmented, then this augmented chord connects three keys. It's an E augmented in A minor, it's a C augmented in F minor, and it's an A flat augmented in D flat minor, or if you want, it's a G sharp augmented in C sharp minor, same key. So I can move between any two of those three keys, A minor, F minor, and C sharp minor, by passing through this chord. So for instance, let me play A minor, D minor, E augmented twice, and after the second time, I'm moving to F minor, B flat minor, C augmented, F minor again. So I'm modulating between A minor to F minor. Of course, I can also go the other direction, so I can play A minor, D minor, E augmented twice, and then move into C sharp minor, F sharp minor, G sharp augmented, so in the key of C sharp minor. Again, I'm playing the same chord progression in all the keys. I'm always playing 1, 4, 5. Now, if you don't like the resolution straight from the augmented chord into the first chord of the key, meaning if you don't like, or if you don't like the transition between the fourth chord of the key into the augmented chord, meaning you can always mediate it. What do I mean with that? Well, I could play A minor, D minor, E. Not an E augmented, just an E, or maybe an E7. Then from there, play an E augmented, which is the same as a C augmented. From there, play a C or a C7, and then F minor. And I move from A minor to F minor. Now, the difference between the E and the E augmented is just one note. And the difference between the C augmented and the C is just one note, so all these transitions sounds particularly smooth. In fact, it may sound too smooth, meaning that it may sound that like those three chords are saying the same thing, so the progression is not moving. It depends on the feeling you want to give to your listener. So, here's how it will sound. Again, up to you to choose which one you like best, and also up to you to choose the exact chords inversion, the exact chord voicing. There are a lot of possibilities to make this chord progression sound in several different ways, depending on how exactly you want the listener to feel when you go through this transition. Also, while we develop this whole idea with minor keys, the augmented chord modulation works perfectly well with major keys too. So you can just use the exact same trick. You can play, for instance, A major, D major, E augmented, and then modulate into F major. Now, as I said, this is just one way to change key using augmented chords. If you want more videos on this, just write it down in the comments, and if enough people write that, I will do another video or more on augmented chord modulations. Also, it's incredibly important when you compose those chord progression on your guitar to be very familiar with the chord position, the chords inversion, and how to connect them. Because if you don't connect those positions well, if you don't follow the correct voice leading, then this chord progression will not sound as good as it can. So, if you want to learn about all that, I do recommend you check out the Complete Chord Mastery Guitar course. Complete Chord Mastery, it's not a book, it's a complete video course made by guitar players for guitar players. Let me tell you who this course is not for. If you're searching for a quick fix, then I do not recommend Complete Chord Mastery, because I designed Complete Chord Mastery for people who want to invest their time and actually really understand everything from beginning to end, all the nuts and bolts of harmony on guitar, for people who want to become harmonic powerhouses on their guitar. So if you are willing to do that, if you're willing to invest your time and get better at guitar, then definitely you will love Complete Chord Mastery. You can check out the Complete Chord Mastery course on the link on the top right. If you like this video, smash on that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and definitely click on notification, otherwise YouTube will not let you know when I put up a new video. And if you have any feedback, comment, suggestions, or if you want the next video on augmented chord modulation, then write it in the comments. This is Tommaso Ziglia of musictheoryforguitar.com, and until next time, enjoy!